Hi everybody, I want to talk a little deeper about false self and true self. With narcissism, if you're just now coming on to the fact that what narcissism is and what the personality disorder is, really go check out my playlist about what is narcissism and how it forms and how narcissists see the world before you watch this video. If you come into this video with very little prior knowledge, it's not really going to help you much. It's just going to confuse you, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a script. I'm going to try to make it not confusing, but still, you should go check that stuff out. It's a playlist somewhere down there or over there. I don't know what you're watching this on. Anyways, point of it is, the false self and true self. We all know that narcissists have their true self, aka the true colors, and then they have their false self, which is the, quote, mask they wear. In another video, I've talked about how the false self is basically like a continuous analytical process where the words you say have specific meaning to you, the words themselves. Like when you tell somebody you're being a douchebag, you're literally saying this behavior that you are currently engaging in is very douchebagamous, and you are being somewhat of a douchebag. You know, we are presently detecting high levels of douchebaggery due to your high levels of douchebagnitude. You're being a douche. And what the false self does is an added layer of processing that they've constructed in their psychology. It allows them to still experience the world without hearing anything painful. And it's usually because they've had some sort of majorly painful trauma in their formative years. And they've developed this system, this mindset that keeps them from getting hurt and keeps them from hearing anything painful ever again. It's basically like a mental bodyguard. It's not quite like a multiple personality thing, but it's pretty close. So it's like this layer of processing that sits between you and them. And when you say something like you're being a douchebag, the way that the filtering works is they take the words you say and this adaptive process, they run it through a filter that determines your true intent behind what you're saying. So they're hearing the words combined with a thought process of why are they saying this to me? And what this does is that's a free and open invitation for their subconscious to explain the reasons why someone is now spouting hurtful words at them. And when they allow their subconscious to feed them an explanation for the negativity, then that allows them to completely decouple from the negative feedback. So when you say you're being a douchebag, that's, you know, and they say, why is he telling me this? It's because I'm with a really hot girl and he's just jealous that my girl is really hot. And so now what he's wanting to do is he's trying to devalue me in front of my hot chick so that he can try and get her. So everything they hear is coupled with this self-explanation of intent. And they feel superior doing, you know, it makes them feel superior because they always seem to know what your true intentions are. So that's false self, and we all know when their true self is somebody that's highly insecure, very low self-esteem, hates themselves, feels like a piece of shit. Their true self, their inner self, is like the bodybuilder that goes to the gym, works out, and then goes home and eats pizza and cries. You know, the pizza-eating fat boy that cries on the couch is the true self. And it may be that growing up he was overweight as a child and was picked on and bullied for his weight, He was told that he was worthless, that he was a fat sack of shit, and that he'd never amount to anything because he's just too fat, dumb, and slow. And something like that can be incredibly destructive to a child. And in the formative years, that becomes their identity. And so they think, okay, if nobody's ever going to love me because I'm always going to be too fat, slow, and dumb, then I need to be something that's likable, or I'm never going to make it far in life. I need to be able to look good physically, so then I will at least have acceptance on that, and then people won't know that I'm slow and dumb and, you know, I guess secretly fat, although I'm not fat anymore, right? That's the true self. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because you can speak to a narcissist's true self, and you can speak to their false self. Almost like somebody with multiple personalities. What makes it exceptionally challenging is the fact that you can only speak to their true self through that layer of processing, through that false self. And the problem with that is they're going to always be processing what you're saying to explain your words to themselves as to why you're saying these things. You know, why are you saying this? Why? It's because you're jealous. You're just jealous. You're just jealous. No, you're just controlling. You're saying all of this stuff because you want to be controlling. You know, that's what they say. So it's like, you know, you're being controlling. And whenever they come up with their own diagnosis for what you're saying, then nothing else matters, because in their mind now you're just being a controlling asshole, and that's not their fault or their problem, and their defeated inner child is protected. You know, how can you get them to take the mask off? And so this is something that I've been trying to look into. I don't quite have the answer yet, but I've come up with some pretty interesting findings so far. So in another video, and I believe in this one, I sort of did the hand gesture of this is what you're talking to. You're dealing with somebody who has this defensive hand between their brain and your words, right? So this is how they talk to you, right? They've got this defensive hand. Their mouth, you can see their mouth moving, and you hear their words. And because of the way you process, you listen to the words and assign specific meaning to their words. You're not sitting here trying to process alternate intent. You're just, you know, you're telling them words that have meaning to you, and then you assume that the words coming back also have meaning without there being ulterior motive. How can you get them to take off that mask and deal with just their true self? It's very difficult for a narcissist to do, because that true self or that false self is a protective, defensive layer. In as much as your skin is a defensive, protective layer to all of your vital, sensitive organs beneath the skin. So getting a narcissist to take that mask off is literally like having you take your skin off, so that your inner self can experience the world. Well, when your inner self experiences the world without that skin, being skinned while alive and conscious is very unpleasant. So just imagine going through that, something like that, psychologically and emotionally. It's very difficult. However, not impossible.
In half a mile, turn left.
How do you do this? One of the ways I've found so far is you have to disarm them. You say, okay, you know, please try not to be upset about this. I understand that you're going to probably take this as an insult. This isn't meant to be insulting. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just trying to make things better for us.
Turn left on
And
West Green
what I'm
Boulevard.
trying to do is I'm trying to understand your feelings so that you don't need to expend so much energy on defensive posturing, you know. Because I know that you know, we have a toxic relationship, and I know you expend an extraordinary amount of energy on defense, you know, and I have to expend a lot of energy on what I'm trying to tell you. I think there's a better way, so please approach this with an open mind. That may or may not get the mask all the way off. It may make them just a little more adept,
In 1,000
but
feet,
a little more
turn
open.
left, then turn right.
You're probably not going to get that mask off. Because like I said before, this is something that I'm still exploring and trying to have a breakthrough in, is how to short circuit that false self and speak just to that little inner child. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Damn. I had something I was going to say, and then I spaced out as usual. Shit. Yeah, in another video I talk about throwing gray rocks as a third form of communicating. And in that video, I definitely encourage watching it. It basically entails speaking and responding to a narcissist in such a manner that simultaneously gives a gray rock response and helps them realize that they need to prop up their ego better. It's a way of having them secretly realize that they've accidentally revealed their true colors on something. So if you can talk to them in a manner that makes them realize that they've revealed their true colors, instead of as they're trying to engage in an activity that's propping up their image, that's meant to inflate their ego, that's meant to build up their image, if you're able to talk to them in a manner that protects that ego, protects that image, while at the same time registering in the back of their brain that, oh shit, well, I accidentally exposed my true colors, but thank God it didn't make me look bad. But I should probably be more careful in the future when I do this so that I don't expose my true colors again. So that's throwing the gray rock, where you haven't done anything to prop up their ego, but you haven't harmed it, but you've managed to make contact with that inner self, that true self, the true colors, and they recognize that true colors did indeed come through in the interaction, but there was no fight, there was no conflict. You successfully managed to gray rock. Or, you know, there may very well still be a fight and an argument as you throw gray rocks at them. But they at least recognize that a true color came through and that they probably shouldn't do that again. That's about the only thing I've found so far. But I'm hoping that I find out something else. You know, in the skin example, how do you bypass skin? Well, with a hypodermic injection, you know, a needle, something that can easily pierce through a thin part of this layer, pierce through it, and inject what needs to be injected without causing, you know, major cuts, major damage, major bruising, and something that's going to have a positive effect on the inside. And yeah, it's a good enough analogy. I'm pretty sure you get it. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry I don't have conclusive results yet, but I'm definitely interested in hearing what people have to say and have to think. Let me know if you've ever successfully done something like this, and if you have any tips or insight or advice or links or books, send them my way. You know, there's room at this end. So, all right, thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video.